What's up, everybody? Zanny Cakes here, and today we're going to go over soloing Ubers on a budget. We'll be doing it with the Summoner Druid, which is a very friendly, easy to play build. It's very cost effective, and it does a pretty good job of soloing Ubers with very easy to obtain gear. If you enjoy the video or are looking for some more Path of Diablo content, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, leave me a comment below. Let me know what your favorite Uber's running character is. I'd like to start out by saying that this is a budget Uber's build, and as such, there will be some hiccups along the way, particularly in the Uber's fight itself. But in the video, we go over stats, skills, gear, mercenaries, and I give you some tips on how to make your Uber's runs a little bit more smooth, as well as do an actual Uber's run and show you the torch that I find. I hope you enjoy. Alright, let's take a look at stats. You need enough points in strength to hold your gear. You want enough points in dexterity to have 75% chance to block with your storm shield, and then everything else goes into vitality. Energy, you put 0 points in. And if you take a look at resistances, you want to stack resistances as much as possible, especially your lightning resist. Mephisto has a conviction aura, which reduces all of your resistances by a whole lot and then does lightning damage, so stacking past the 75% in hell is highly suggested. Getting into gear. For our weapon, we're using a wizard spike just for the 75 to all resistances. Your best weapon that you can have would be the Beast Rune Word to give all of your summons Fanaticism aura. Another good option would be Heart of the Oak, but we'll get to that later. Jalal's, this is going to be your best helmet for the plus to skills, faster hit recovery, strength, and all resistances. If you have sockets in it, use Ort Runes for lightning resistance or Runes for all resistances. Rain, this is the only chest piece that I would recommend. It gives you +2 to skills, 30 lightning resistance, magical and elemental damage taken reduced, and the most important stat is can summon 1 additional grizzly bear. Blood Fists, they're very cheap, easy to get. They give you faster hit recovery and +40 to life. Any rare gloves with resistances, life, or stats would be good. Lay on hands would be decent with the fire resistance on them, but you'd be better off with the Blood Fist. Storm Shield, that's my only recommended shield just for the high chance to block. The resistances and most importantly the physical damage taken reduced by 30%. Alder's Boots, we got 40% faster run walk, 50 life, and fire resistance. Other good options would be any rare boots that have resistances on them, stats, and life. War Travelers would be okay. Natalia's would be okay. Boots are pretty open. I'm using a Tal Rasha's belt almost purely for the dexterity. There are much better options for belt. Verdungos or Arachnid Mesh would be your best in slot options. Ravenfrost, using that for Cannot Be Frozen. Dexterity also helps us get that 75% chance to block with less points invested in dexterity. I'm using a Bolcathos. I originally ran Ubers with a Dwarf Star. It is very viable with a Dwarf Star. I happened to find a Bolcathos, so I'm using it. And same thing with Maras. I originally ran Ubers with a +3 to summon skills amulet, blue amulet. I've later on found a Maras, so I'm using that for the added stats and added resistances. On our switch, we have Spirit Crystal Sword and Spirit Monarch. That gives us +4 to skills when summoning. Ideally, you would want a Heart of the Oak for an extra +1 to skills. As far as charms go, we've got life, resistances, and then 10 Druid summoning skills charms. You can use an Annihilus and Torch if you would like. I don't have an Annihilus, and then with as far as the torch goes, I choose not to, so I can pick up the torch on this guy and then take it to a normal game and mule it to a mule or another character that's going to use it. I got extremely lucky and re-rolled this one myself. I was very happy with the 44 to life skiller. Other than that, I bought 5 of these for a single goal rune. I re-rolled a plain one, and then I traded a limb for one and a pull rune for the other. They're very easy to get, quite cheap compared to most of the skill charms. Let's talk about mercenaries. There's 2 viable options for mercenaries on a budget for summoner druids. The first would be an Act 5 mercenary with Lawbringer. The Lawbringer gives you a chance to cast Decrepify, as well as the mercenary himself gives Might Aura, which increases the damage of all of your summons. I much prefer the Act 2 Blessed Aim mercenary. It gives all of your summons more attack rating, meaning they will hit the Uber's bosses more often, and overall seems to be a better damage increase than Might, as well as you can use a Reaper's Toll, which is a much more reliable version of casting Decrepify. You do not need a 5 open socket Reaper's Toll. You can do it with a 1 socket Reaper's Toll from Barzuk. The only rune that you really need in there is the rune for the chance of open wounds. I also put a Mal rune in there for Prevent Monster Heal. That does not work on Uber's bosses. It's in there for other content. So you do not need the Mal rune at all. It does not help you at all in the Uber's fights. And then I put 3 Shale runes in mine for 60% increased attack speed. I've also got a 15% increased attack speed jewel in my helmet, letting my mercenary hit the 75% breakpoint. I use Blackhorn's Face for the slows target by 20%. That actually stacks with Decrepify. And when you have both slow and Decrepify on the Uber's bosses, it significantly reduces their damage output. It's also got Lightning Resist and Lightning Absorb that helps him tank the Diablo Lightning Hose. It's physical damage and lightning damage. So we also have Shaft Stop for physical damage taken reduced with a melee splash jewel in it. It also gives us some life. My melee splash jewel had 15 lightning resist on it, so that helps as well. In the beginning of the video, you saw me kill the organ bosses. They're extremely easy. You just teleport around until you find them, teleport on top of them, and then kill them. You then take the 3 organs and then cube them, and it opens the portal to Uber Tristram. As you can see, I made my portal by Mala. That is not the best place to make it. It's actually better to make the portal over by Qualkek. I got in the habit of placing it by Mala quite a while ago, and old habits die hard. Once you are inside Uber Tristram, you need to make your way around the map fairly slowly until you run into the bosses. The idea is to aggro one of them and kite them so they are solo and you can fight them one at a time. It doesn't matter what order you fight them in, as long as you are fighting them solo. I prefer to fight Mephisto first, if possible, then Diablo, and then Baal. Mephisto has Conviction Aura, and it reduces your resistances by 125%. He does lightning damage, so ideally you want to have 200% lightning resistance in Hell mode to keep yourself maxed against him. You should try to kite him over by the red portal that you use to enter Uber Tristram. You cannot make a TP in there, so you have to go through the red portal if you want to leave. Since this build somewhat hinges on your mercenary being alive, if he dies, you can just pop back through the red portal. If you made it by Qualkek, you can rehire him really quick and pop back in and get in the fight. The way that Open Wounds works is it lasts for 8 seconds, and it effectively counteracts the boss healing. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Prevent Monster Heal does not work, so if your mercenary dies, you have 8 seconds to pop out, resurrect him, pop back in, and get him back on the boss that you're fighting. Mephisto and Diablo both summon adds, which can distract your summons, so if your summons start wandering around, teleport back on top of the boss, and then run yourself away to a safe distance. And it is also best to kill off any remaining adds after the boss dies, so they are not a distraction in the other boss fights. Diablo seems to be one of the biggest challenges of the three, mostly because his lightning hose almost guaranteed one-shots your mercenary. If your mercenary is higher level and has really good gear, then he can survive it, but ultimately he's probably going to die a time or two. Again, that's why it's good to have the red portal over by Qualkek so you can pop out, get him resurrected, and then get back to fighting Diablo. Once Mephisto and Diablo are down, you can pat yourself on the back because Bale is an absolute pushover. All you have to do is just teleport on top of him, watch him die, and loot your torch. I hope this video gives you some insight on how to do the Ubers fight on a Summoner Druid. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and as always, good luck, have fun, and I hope to see you out there.